What's up, everybody? Welcome on into 1TS Daily for Monday, July 8th, 2024. Man, hope you guys all had a good weekend. I sure did. It was a busy weekend in the wrestling world, was it not? I mean, I don't know. Going into the weekend, it didn't seem like it was that kind of a weekend, right? Where it's like we're loaded with wrestling stuff. But alas, we were. We had Money in the Bank. We had NXT Heatwave. We had a bunch of really big news, and we need to get to all of it right here on 1TS Daily. This show is live right here on the One True Sport YouTube channel every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 11 Eastern. So you don't want to miss it. Subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss it, so that you are updated, and so that you get messages and notifications when we are live. You're not going to want to miss this show on a regular basis. I have a special announcement at the end of the show today that I'm just thrilled about. Can't wait to let you guys in on it, and just can't wait for what's next on the future of this show. So I'll share that a little bit later today. We talk the big news of the week here on the show every day. Show reviews, previews, breaking down the big news, analyzing the big news, and chatting with you. So speaking of which, I got the live chat wide open. Eddie is in there right now. Liam is in there. Liam says, "Hey Zach." Hey Liam, what's up? Glad to have you here. Eddie's already in here talking about NXT Heatwave from last night. We'll definitely get to that and get to that show and get to some of those results. Thank you guys for being in the live chat. I also have super chats open if you so choose and if you're able. Any contribution helps us out at One True Sport and 1TS Daily. So definitely do that if you want to make sure that your comment sticks out or your questions stick out. Definitely a big help to me and to the show and to One True Sports. So I thank you in advance for any super chats. As I mentioned, subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. We've got all sorts of content in addition to this show every day going up on a regular basis. You're not going to want to miss it. So subscribe, turn on notifications, and if you're watching this video and you can hit the like button, that always helps us here with the algorithm. I'm Zack Heydorn. I am your host here every single day on 1TS Daily. I am from Brass Ring Media. That's my shop, where we talk pro wrestling, long form. It's a little bit more of a longer form coverage strategy of professional wrestling. I encourage you and would love to have you guys check us out on YouTube. Totally free to subscribe. Just head over to Brass Ring Media on YouTube and hit subscribe there. We also have written content that goes up on Substack almost every day for that, including weekends. So just search Brass Ring Media Substack on that front, and you'll get access to all the written content that I do and my team does. So don't miss it. Brass Ring Media. Before we get into it here, just want to talk about One True Sport as well. OneTrueSport.com. Go there. It's got all of the tiers for our memberships. It's got a really cool merch store. Don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. Go there. Check out what we have going on. We've got some work that we're doing with some top legends of the pro wrestling business. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Check it out. There's tiers for everybody, different levels, different price points. So hopefully you guys check that out. What's up, Phil? Phil just joined the chat here and says, "Hey, everyone." Phil, good to have you. Good to have you. Glad you're here. Hopefully you keep coming back. Liam says here, "Crazy weekend of wrestling we've all had." That's for sure, Liam. That is for sure. Here's what we're going to do today on the show. We're going to talk a little Money in the Bank. We're going to talk NXT Heatwave, and we're also going to spend some time talking kind of like the biggest story of the weekend, John Cena announcing his retirement. And then I got a couple of other topics that I definitely want to run through and make sure that we touch on. Get your questions in. If you want to get your questions or comments in the live chat or the super chat, get them in now. I'm flagging them down so we don't miss anything. And it's going to be Going to be busy show. So let's get it in. Okay. So Money in the Bank, Saturday night in Toronto. WWE had their big Toronto takeover weekend. An interesting show, to say the least. An interesting show, to say the least. This is how it shook out. Drew McIntyre won the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Sami Zayn defeated Braun Breaker to retain his Intercontinental Championship. Damian Priest beat Drew McIntyre in what ended up being a triple threat match after Drew McIntyre cashed in his Money in the Bank to retain the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Tiffany Stratton won the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. And then the Bloodline defeated Cody Rhodes, Solo Sikoa, and Jacob Fatu in the main event. With Solo Sikoa pinning John Cena, now sets up a pretty big match at SummerSlam between Sikoa and Cody Rhodes for Cody's championship. So that's how Money in the Bank shook out. Now, there's a lot wrong with this show. It wasn't a terrible watch. I gave it, in my Brass Ring media reports and reviews that you can check out on Substack right now, I gave it like a slight thumbs up, like a very slight, like the slightest thumbs up that you could give is what I gave it. It was a sloppy show. Like, it really was a sloppy show, and I don't even think the booking was all that terrible on the show. So it was kind of on the wrestlers in the ring. The Money in the Bank ladder match on the men's side, that was a pretty safe, straightforward ladder match. They didn't try too much stuff. They didn't they didn't overdo it, with spots and crazy violence and crazy kind of archaic archaic moments. But so it was kind of there, and I didn't mind it. Like, it wasn't a bad match. But it's not going to be a Money in the Bank ladder match that you remember. When it came down to it, everybody in that match had their moments. In terms of will they win or will they not win? Will they win? Will they not win? Will they win? Will they not win? Everybody had their moments there, but really, the two main guys who you thought were going to win throughout the cadence of this match was Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre takes it. The outcome of this match was predictable, I think, a little bit. We talked about this Friday on our preview show, but Drew really had to win here. I think that the feud with CM Punk needed that prop. I think it needed the prop of Money in the Bank. It needed the moment of Punk costing Drew another chance at the championship. Because that's the story that they're telling, right? They're telling the story of CM Punk just torturing Drew McIntyre and preventing him from winning the world title. That's the story. Now, you may not like that story. And I'm not saying it's a good one. I'm not saying that it's one that is smart when you've got CM Punk trying to be the babyface, but he's constantly kind of interfering in these matches. That's not really a babyface thing to do. So I'm not saying it's a good story, but that was the story. And so McIntyre winning Money in the Bank, and then Punk costing him his cash in, fits really perfectly into that story. So I understand why they did it. Also, Triple H is now not saddled with the Money in the Bank on the men's side to kind of hold up his booking. So there's no worry in that regard. So that was the opener. Now we'll get to that and Drew more here in a second. Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn. This was a disappointment for me. I looked at this match and I was excited, for it to happen. I thought these two really could. I thought Sami Zayn could really break Braun Breaker out of his shell. Break Braun Breaker. Gosh, boy, I had that planned for weeks, folks, weeks. But he really didn't. I think Breaker did not have the type of performance that I wanted to see him have. I didn't think he sold his offense very well. I don't think he got really the match over that strongly. He was really one note and pretty flat. And I just wonder if WWE senses that, and hence why Sami Zayn went over so darn clean. One haluva kick, and that's it. That's all it was. My guess is deep down, this isn't over. I think that, maybe WWE is like, hey, Braun, you're in our plans, but you're not right now. Maybe you will be at SummerSlam. Maybe we'll run this back that quick. I don't think this is the last Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker match that we're going to see, but this one was disappointing and not one that that made me like say to myself, oh, wow, like I need to see these two go at it again. So there we go. Eddie's saying the same thing here in the chat. Zach, I'm shocked that Sami went over. Yeah, I mean, I was shocked that he went over, but also like shocked in the way he went over, right? Like it wasn't just that he did. It was that, hey, it's clean. Look, you don't see that too often, with up and coming guys like Breaker, doing clean jobs like that. If there's ever somebody to protect, Breaker's that type of talent, or so WWE would have you believe. You didn't get that sense during the outcome of this match. So, okay, the world title match was a mess, just disaster on multiple levels. Like Seth Rollins, not on his game. Not on his game. I mean, I just don't think he had a good night. He didn't look like he was ready to go. He didn't look like he was very invested in the match and what they were doing. Damian Priest, same thing. Like he just kind of and Seth was slow and plodding through a lot of that match. Priest, same way, was a little bit disinterested, is what it felt like to me. And then you just had like the mess with the 3 count without Damian Priest kicking out. And we got a question on this topic that I definitely want to get here. And it is from Eddie. And Eddie says, Zach, do you think the ref in the Seth Priest match should have counted the 3 instead of stopping the count the way he did? I believe the refs need to treat that type of situation like a shoot. Yeah, look, referee 101. That is referee 101 stuff. You make the 3 count. And then you deal with like the booker deals with the consequences later on. That is the way it has to go. Because as soon as you don't do it, the match loses all momentum. The talent looks silly. The crowd is immediately taken out of it the minute that happens. And that's exactly what happened during this match. Like after that happened, it just was a mess. Like I don't think anybody bought anything that was going on. It's too big of a botch to come back from. And so, yeah, absolutely, he should have made the 3 count. That's what refs are supposed to do. If the shoulders are on the mat, you make the count. And that's that. That's the situation. That's what you do. And so he definitely should have done that. And then it was really messy. I don't know if Damian Priest's bell was wrong or what at that point, but clearly something happened there, and the kick out wasn't made. So yeah, maybe Seth Rollins would have been the world champion for a little while, but you can fix it with the cash in. You can fix that. You can run it back on Raw. Like WWE has the opportunity with so much television to redo some of this stuff if they mess it up. So they definitely should have done it. Liam's asking here, do you think were they late for the Drew cash in? Do you think that was the plan before the count? I mean, maybe it could have been, but either way, like you still hit the 3 count. You still hit the 3 count. Now, it seemed to me that Damian Priest just didn't kick out. Like that's what it seemed like to me, that he just was supposed to kick out and he didn't. Made a mistake, made an error, and that's that. So, that's what it seemed like to me. I don't know that there's any other conspiracy there. Wrestling Soup, what's going on? Says 100%. Let it ride. Yeah, that's what you do. That's what you do. No question about that. So messy match. You had Drew McIntyre cash in his Money in the Bank. No surprise there. CM Punk stops the cash in from happening. Cost Drew the title, and there you go. I mean, like you could see You see that coming from a mile away. And I don't think that helped the match either. So you had Seth off, you had Damian Priest off, you had a very, very bad ref botch, and you had a predictable outcome. That's not a recipe. That's not a recipe for success. Not at all. Women's Money in the Bank went exactly as you thought. Tiffany Stratton wins. Wild match that I thought, like, early on, I was kind of shielding my eyes, like, oh my God, it's botch after botch. They're landing on their heads. But, you know, I think that ended up enhancing the drama later on. Like, when they were really doing big stuff, like, that enhanced that part because you bought in and you were really worried and you were, like, emotionally invested in their well-being. So I thought that that helped. And look, Tiffany's the best person on SmackDown to carry the Money in the Bank gimmick. I mean, it's perfect for her. She's going to do up the briefcase, and she's going to be around threatening, you know, the champion and Bayley or Nia Jax or whoever it is, you know, at any time. That's a good heel gimmick for her to have. And so I think that's smart. Yeah, Eddie's here saying, yeah, Chelsea took a hell of a bump. Yeah, she sure did. She sure did. And the main events, I mean, a wild 6-man tag. Jacob Fatu. Wow. What a star, right, guys? I mean, he is something else. Like, he was just intense, crisp. Offense was good. Selling was good. Presence was great. That's the stare downs that he had with Kevin Owens, I thought were fantastic. Like, just like two unhinged guys, like set to do battle till the end of their days. Like, it was just a great moment. Loved it. Solo Sikoa beating Cody Rhodes. If you're going to do that match at SummerSlam, which it seems like they are, that's the finish. That's the finish that you have the pay-per-view before. You know, that helps you get to that match and also gives Solo, you know, a really, really big win heading into that match. So absolutely, you know, the right way to go. With that, I wonder if we end up seeing Roman Reigns at SummerSlam to finally, you know, make his encounter with Solo Sikoa and then this new Bloodline faction. It seems to me like that's a good reason to have Solo in the main event of SummerSlam, because he just, outside of that, he doesn't really feel like a main eventer, but you know, he's going to hold down that spot, and I think he's holding it down for a reason, for a good reason. And so I think he's coming back sooner than later. So we'll see. Andrew agrees here. Roman is on his way back, and he throws up the ones. Yeah, well played. Well played, Andrew. Well played, Andrew. This will be something that we talk about throughout the week here. I still don't think Solo is a legit threat. Yeah, I mean, they still have some work to do. And if I were them, I would tell Jacob Fatu to, like, hey, take it down a notch, my friend. You're overshadowing our main guy in Solo. You know, he was that good. I think he was that good where he commanded that kind of attention. And if he keeps going, just as Eddie says here, Jacob is the real star in that group. Yeah, it's like he's got to tone it back and kind of know his role in this faction and not overshadow Solo Sikoa. That, coupled with Solo up in his game, I think would make for a you know, important shift. So yeah, interesting turn of events, that's for sure. Okay, then we had NXT Heatwave. That was Money in the Bank. Heatwave, the Heatwave show. I don't know if you guys have caught this show. If you're not watching NXT, you probably did not see this show. You should watch this show. That's my advice to you. Like, take a minute, if you're a couple hours, not a minute, but a couple hours if you can, and watch it. It was a really good NXT show. Easy watch, you know, 5 matches, but the matches were excellent, and they were all very different from one another too. So this is how it shook out. We had Nathan Frazier and Axiom defeat Andre Chase and Duke Hudson for the NXT Tag Team titles. They retained those titles. It was a heck of a tag team match. That's the kind of match I'm talking about on this show. Obafemi retained his North American Championship against Wes Lee. Another really good match. Like, Wes Lee played from behind in this almost the whole way. And Femi was awesome in, like, the dominant, you know, brutal monster role. Those two had a heck of a match. Kalani Jordan and Sol Ruka for the NXT Women's North American Championship. I was impressed with that one too. Man, I mean, it just they weren't crisp on everything, but they tried a lot. They fit a lot into that match, and sometimes it felt like maybe they were trying to go for a little too much, and I think they landed it. I think they landed the plane. This is definitely a match worth watching. I think it's like the next generation of women's stars is going to be led by these two, and Sol Ruca and Kalani Jordan both brought it. I think Ruca is the more complete performer at this time. She's got the character down that Kalani Jordan just doesn't have. They're both solid in the ring at this point, though. And I think, they're going to be a fixture of NXT television for quite some time. Roxanne Perez beat Lola Vice for the NXT Women's Championship. She retained the title there. Okay match, but not tremendous. And then the Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Championship: Trick Williams, Javon Evans, Ethan Page, and Shawn Spears for the NXT Championship. Ethan Page walks away champion. Now that was a surprise. Really good match, but a surprise finish. Like, I did not see Page holding that title. They protected Swerve greatly, and it was like essentially his move that dropped Evans and allowed Page to get the win. But regardless, he did not win the title. He wasn't pinned, though. And so that's a key element here that I'm sure they're going to play into. But this was a really good match too, and I think Ethan Page, boy, from not making ROH television to NXT and in front of a big crowd in Toronto, it's a really, really great turn of events for him moving forward. So two really good shows. Eddie calls the Heatwave show the best show of the weekend. Well, it was definitely a better show than Money in the Bank. So I highly recommend you guys check it out. Now, on Money in the Bank, we had a surprise appearance by John Cena, and he comes out and he talks. He does his John Cena bit, right? Like, we all know the John Cena bit. And he says that next year is going to be his last year of active wrestling. Last year of active wrestling. He says he's going to do about 30 to 40 dates. That's what he revealed in the press conference. And those dates are going to include the Royal Rumble. They'll include Elimination Chamber. And, of course, they will include WrestleMania. He did not give any indication as to who he will be facing or who he'll be feuding with. He just said that he's on this one final run. He wants to go out on his terms. So this was a big announcement. And, WWE is going to WWE. And they're clearly milking Cena's retirement. They want to draw numbers with it. They want to sell tickets with it. And they're going to try to do that. It's smart business. Like, it's plain and simple. It is smart business. There's no two ways about it. And, Cena going on this like one final run last time tour is gonna make money for the company. And, when we talk about possible final opponents for John Cena, I mean, there's a lot of names out there, right? CM Punk's back in the company. It'd be fun to see those two tangle again. Cody Rhodes, could that be, a WrestleMania main event on one of the nights? Cena trying to become champion for the 17th time to break Ric Flair's record. That could be something that you sell tickets with. You could do Seth Rollins again. Obviously, Roman Reigns is out there. Drew McIntyre is out there. There's so many, talents that Cena can work with. So I think this is going to be a fun run. And I think it's smart for WWE to call it out, define it as what it is, and run with it. And it's going to make for a fun year. Andrew says wrestling was better with John Cena. There were some serious dark days in between his run and the Triple H era. Yeah, well, that's that is an understatement, my friend. Yes, dark days for sure. Cena had his dark days too. It wasn't always roses with him in terms of the crowd reactions and just him overstaying his welcome at the top of the card. Like, I think that he occupied that spot for so long that people got tired of it after a while. But Cena, when you look back on his legacy, not when you're in the middle of his run, but when you look back on it, I mean, it was very, very impactful and very, very influential, and came at an important time for WWE, coming out of the Chris Benoit stuff and Eddie and steroid deaths and things of that nature. Like, Cena, kind of carried him out of that and helped get them to where they are right now. And so that will always be a part of his legacy too. So I'm glad they're treating it as a big deal, because it is a big deal. Cena leaving is a big deal. Liam says here, I felt old after the Cena segment. Literally grew up watching him from his debut. Yeah, I mean, same here, man. Like, I was in the building for his debut match against Kurt Angle, first one, ruthless aggression, slap. I was there, and the run was on from that point on. So yeah, this will be fun. It'll be fun to watch, and I'm excited to see how they do it and who the opponents are. But I like calling it out and being just straightforward. That's how you do business. That's how you promote. It's good stuff. In the comments, if you guys are watching live or watching later on, I want to know, who do you want to see Cena face, as part of this final run, either at WrestleMania or just in general. Like, want to know your thoughts on who should Cena's opponents be. If you're coming up with a opponent list for him, who are you pitching? Drop it in the comments right now. We do have Monday Night Raw tonight, and a batch of matches have been announced. Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan are going to take on Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega. Jey Uso is going to face Chad Gable. Finn Balor, JD McDonough, and Carlito will face The Miz, R-Truth, and Braun Strowman. And then we've got Dakota Kai, Kairi Sane, and Io Sky against Lyra Valkyria, Kaden Carter, and Katana Chance. So nothing major that stands out from a match perspective with those announcements, but a big hook for the show is going to be Drew McIntyre too, and CM Punk, and where that stands. Adam Pearce has suspended Drew. I don't know what that means for Punk, and if he's going to be there to kind of pull him out of suspension so that he can wrestle him. They can take it a lot of different ways, but certainly part of the show tonight will be addressing, what happened with Drew and Punk. And also, I'm sure Seth too will be a part of it, addressing, not being able to wrestle for the world title for as long as Damian Priest is champion. I'm sure he'll be on hand to address Priest and address Punk as well. So that is Monday Night Raw. We will recap that show tomorrow right here on 1TS Daily. Let's talk news nuggets for Monday, July 8th. Stephanie Vacour reportedly has offers from both WWE and AEW. Vacour notably took on Mercedes Moné at Forbidden Door was it a week ago now? Yeah, just over a week ago. Man, it seems like a longer time ago than that. Where do you guys want her to sign? Like, it's man, if I'm her, I'm taking the bag. Whoever's the best offer, that's where I'm going. Because I think both companies can offer her something good from a career perspective. I mean, WWE certainly has the reach. It's got a lot of talent. It's got really good coaching. I think she'd be a really strong piece of the NXT women's division before heading to the main roster. So that makes sense. And AEW, and you're going to get a chance to shine right away. And you've got really strong talent to work with. So, it kind of depends on what she's looking for. I think she'd get lost in the shuffle quicker in AEW, just because there's a lot of other things going on in the women's division. But, maybe she wants to take that because she'll have a little bit more freedom, and she could work in Mexico. And Andrew not disagrees, but Andrew says she might get lost in WWE. They're stacked top to bottom. And then Tony doesn't know how to book good wrestlers. Yeah, he has his hits and misses with that for sure, Andrew. But that's Stephanie Vacour. So, she'll sign soon enough, I imagine. Riho announced on Instagram that she broke her arm. She's been gone for 4 months. She had a match on a Collision and broke her arm. So really tough luck for Riho and for the AEW women's division. Not that she's been a part of it, but I think if she was a part of it, she can bring something to it. She just hasn't been able to be active enough there. So bummer for her, but Riho will be out for a while with a broken arm. And then if you caught the end of NXT Heatwave yesterday, there was a Joe Hendry tease. Joe Hendry's face flashed on the screen as the show went off the air. What does that mean? It means probably that he's, not probably. I think he's due for an NXT appearance soon. And maybe NXT is going to get behind him a little bit here and give him a little bit of a push and see what happens. The Joe Hendry thing to me is really interesting. He's got a lot of buzz, a lot of momentum right now, but what kind? Is it the kind that burns scorching hot and then fizzles out, or is there a long-term, star in the making there? I don't know yet. I really don't know. It's too early to say. It's too early to say. I think in TNA, he is kind of one note. I think in NXT, he'd have more at his disposal to play with. In terms of opponents, in terms of bookers, in terms of production, there's just more there, and so I'd be interested to see like what NXT could do with that act. So we're going to find out, because they wouldn't have teased that if it was nothing. Go back and watch the end of NXT Heatwave; you'll see it. Pretty interesting moment. That's the Nuggets for July 8th here on Monday. All right, time for the big announcement. Beginning tomorrow. Right here on 1TS Daily, I will have with me a co-host, and that co-host is by the name of Ryan Drosty from the Top Rope Nation podcast. You guys know him. He covered for me here a couple weeks ago on 1TS Daily. Ryan brings a wealth of knowledge to pro wrestling discussion and pro wrestling analysis, and so he will join me as co-host every day, Monday through Friday, 11 Eastern, right here on One True Sport, to talk to you and to talk to me and to talk to each other about the news, about shows, and it's going to be a blast. I'm super pumped to work with Ryan. Again, he is so credible in the space, and we're going to have a blast. And hopefully you guys are all very much looking forward to it. I certainly am. It's going to be a blast. Tomorrow. So you don't want to miss it. 11 Eastern, right here at One True Sport. Cool? How about that? I'm pumped. I've been sitting on that for like days and days and days. And finally, I can put it out there. Ryan Drosty set to join me as co-host here at 1TS Daily live on One True Sport. Thanks so much, guys. We'll wrap it up there. We'll be here tomorrow, Ryan and myself, talking Raw and whatever else drops between now and then in this wacky world of professional wrestling. Appreciate you guys. Thank you to everybody who joined in the live chat. Thank you to everybody who listened on Twitter. Thank you everybody who listened after the fact on YouTube and wherever you listen to the show. Thank you. Head to OneTrueSport.com. Check out our membership options. You're not going to want to miss them. Like and subscribe to our One True Sport YouTube channel, and also subscribe to Brass Ring Media. That's my shop where we talk a little bit longer form pro wrestling. We have a YouTube channel. You definitely want to check that out. Subscribe there. All sorts of good stuff going up all throughout the week. And you can also find us on Substack too, where we do our written content, which has features and editorials, show reviews, ratings for pay-per-views and PLE matches. It's all there on Substack. Just search Brass Ring Media Substack. Cool? All right, guys. Thanks so much. It's been a blast. Ryan and I will see you tomorrow right here. It's 1TS Daily. Talk to you soon. Have a good day.